Johnny and James got the mics in their hands, breaking it down like only they can. Talk so smooth like butter on toast. Who's got the answers? They're your host. Think about it. Oh yeah, think about it. Brains on fire, don't you doubt it. They make you think about it. Questions deep to the stories.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's Shallow Podcast at Think About It. Got Mr. James Anderson here with me today this morning. It's been a little while, James, since we've gotten in here and got to talk a little bit. We've both been vacationing and then had my little heart attack and been out for a while. So this is first day back. How you doing, bud?
Pretty good. I think the last time we talked, we were actually in Vegas at the Strat.
Yeah, it's been probably over a month now since we've gotten on here. And so welcome everybody to the show. We're going to have a good one today. We're going to be talking about a little bit. Actually, I'll let James explain a little more what we're talking about because he has the intel here.
The Intel. Today's podcast, we're going to be talking about how to properly switch billing vendors without losing your mind.
And that's the key, not losing your mind.
Well, I mean, one of the key factors, what I call pain points, that a property or property management group dealing with the property is you're looking at invoice issues.
Yeah.
Various kinds. You don't have to go through into detail, but you have invoice issues. You can have inconsistent billing. You can have frequent errors by the different departments in a billing company. You've got customer service, you have the billing department, you have the tech services departments. Poor customer service support. Maybe you're having problems getting a hold of a rep. Maybe you're having issues getting the reports that you're asking for. Maybe there are technical issues that maybe have been addressed but still not totally corrected.
Mm-hmm.
You can still have a lot of failures, and maybe the vendor is giving too long of a time frame. We've discussed that in previous podcasts. You can have an outdated system that needs worked on.
And there's a lot of that going on out there too. A lot of systems that they don't necessarily give them the information saying, hey, your system's failing and we might want to do something about it. Or sometimes they do tell them know that, and then the management decides they don't want to spend the money on getting it fixed.
Which leads to a possible issue of a lack of transparency
Yeah.
regarding that. And these are all frustration points for a property. And we've been on numerous Zoom calls with properties. Some decided to just stay put where they're at because they're scared to switch. And
Well, there's a lot goes into it. I mean, if you're switching from one vendor to another, there's a lot of information that has to be obtained. And as you know, sometimes the former billing company don't play nice. They don't necessarily play in the same sandbox together very well, so they don't like to share the information that the new vendor would need to be able to bill correctly. So there's all those kind of variables that are going on.
And
there.
I know I've experienced that, and so I thought we thought it was necessary to come up with this podcast to help people to decide, is it worth the risk? I think it is. Just this past week, we've invoiced a new property. They had a new system installed, and right off the bat, MLS, Meterlink Solutions, is providing reports, a high-low consumption report, which helps to spot potential issues.
Yep.
And also, whether it's very low consumption or high consumption, somebody can deal with it. Answering emails quickly. We were complimented by the board for quick responses, educating.
Yeah, I saw an email come over from the board member that you were dealing with, and she was really complimenting on the response time of emails, timing quickly with the different customers, because obviously this is the first new billing, so
Right.
some people had some questions. You answered those questions very quickly. You also, they were commenting on just the fact that you gave them some reports. They've been begging the previous vendor for different reports to help them, see what's going on with the property, and they seem to never could get anything from them.
It kind of boggles my mind but as I've experienced, a lot of billing companies will just do the bare minimum.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, read the meters, send out a pre-bill, send out the invoices. Okay, and then have customer service to answer phone calls.
Yeah.
But especially a property that had issues, you need to stay on top of it. I mean, you're getting a new system installed. They need to know what's going on.
Yeah.
And so to me, sending an extra report or two, even this one owner that questioned their usage, they were most likely estimated from the previous vendor. Their real usage is coming in higher than past usage, and I went into great detail on how the meters are read, how invoices are generated, I gave him a detailed report from the system showing his usage from the date of install all the way to the last week when I was talking to him. So I told him, bear with me, there's a lot of information here, but it's necessary so that you are aware of how you're getting billed.
Which is funny, their reaction is from a company they were trying to get data from them or, some reporting and they couldn't get it. And their reactions is when you're just providing a simple usage report and they're just like super ecstatic like a kid in a candy store. Like they're so happy. You know what I mean? They just, it's just kind of surprising. Well, it ain't surprising. It's just goes to show you what a little bit of work, just a little bit, getting a little report, how much difference it made that customer feel. As far as being, I can't stand this vendor to, wow, I love what you're doing. And that just, all it does was one report, right?
Yeah.
One report made a difference between making a customer extremely happy versus one not being happy.
And then also just the education part of it, it's that's probably the biggest key is educating the unit owners, residents, and the property or the board in regards to water usage, why it happens, how much you can save. Speaking of savings, one of the other properties that we invoiced, just 16 units, they were using, on their second month, it was 496,000 gallons. That's a lot of water for 16 units.
That's a whole lot of water.
In 3 months, I always tell people it takes about 3 months to get usage down when people find leaks, they find consumption issues, toilet flappers, all that. Their July usage was 96,000 gallons.
So think about that. A small 17-unit property. That's not very big, first of all. They went from basically 500,000 gallons of water usage down to
96.
We'll call it 100,000 just for rounding it up. That's a lot of savings, a lot of water, and a lot of money. They'd have to be saving on their water bill.
Well, that's a drop of usage, to be exact, 80.6%.
Now this is an extreme case. I mean, I don't typically see these kind of percentages on normal, but this is one of those cases where it does happen. And we're saving this property 80% on installing on a 17-unit property, which is even the scarier part, that this such a small property, or if they're experiencing such a great savings.
Well, it's not just a win for the property, it's a win for the environment. It's a win for all the water that is being saved. I mean, that's just one property. Can you imagine 5, 10 more properties like this?
I know.
That how much water is being wasted, and you got new condos going up, new townhomes, new apartments, and all that water is going to be used, obviously, to fund all these new facilities. But you got some of these older properties that not being sub-metered, they need to be sub-metered. Look what happened with this property.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing that it's a feel-good too, because it's not that, okay, I work for this company, I'm getting a check every 2 weeks. No, we're doing something for the environment. We're trying to save water. We're trying to get people to conserve.
Well, here in Integrity, we know obviously water conservation is a big thing for us. We really push trying to save water. That's why we're pushing our toilet leak systems and our leak detectors that we have. In some other environments like the hotel market and student housing, where a lot of water gets wasted and no one really reports it because no one cares. They're not paying their water bill, right?
Right.
I mean, how many times you've been in a hotel room? I know I have. I travel around quite a bit, where I hear a toilet in there, running at nighttime or whatever. So no one reports those to the office saying, "Hey, your toilet's running," because they're not paying the water bill, so they don't really think about it.
Right.
So there's a lot of water wasted in those kind of environments. Student housing would be the same thing. Students are in there doing their thing. They're not really caring about what the water and toilets and all those types of things that go along with that. So they don't report it. So it just goes wasted. So when you can put some systems like we have in place, whether it be a water meter that can do that, or our toilet leak system, or whatever we have to capture that water waste, not only you're capturing and saving all the water that we have problem, with water conservation, but how much money are you saving? I mean, especially this property went 80% water consumption. I can only imagine the water bill, what that looks like, went from 500,000 gallons down to 100,000 gallons. It's a big saving.
Well, I remember a meeting with a board. It was a Zoom call. All the board members were there. I was in the property manager's office. And this condo property is like 350 plus. And they had always done allocated billing. They've always had to put an increase in with the yearly assessments, the monthly assessments that they would get. They have to do the yearly analysis of the city bills that would come in. And they spent $1.2 million the previous year on water. And I told them that if you put in a sub-metering system, you're going to save at least a minimum of 20%. So I said, do the math. Take 20% off that $1.2 million. It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I said, that'll pay for your system in no time. So if you spend, X amount of money on the system, it may take 2-3 years, and you've already paid it back.
I guarantee this property, their ROI on their 17 units was pretty quick. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? To save that kind of money, you're returning your investment pretty fast.
And you know how much of a joy it is to send a report like that to the property manager to say, look at the savings, look at how much water is being saved, and because of putting in a system. But here's the scary part: whether you have an existing system, whether you want to change vendors, or whether you need a new system, the scary part is the change. I guarantee that some people they know who the wasters are.
Oh yeah.
They know that. Oh shoot, I'm paying $40 in an allocated monthly bill. I could be using 60 to 80, especially if there's multiple people living in the unit.
As a property manager, monitoring utility usage is essential. With Meterlink Solutions, we go beyond just providing data. We identify zero usage or unusually high consumption, giving us the insights to act swiftly. Imagine discovering a unit with skyrocketing usage. Could it be a leak or a tenant not reporting issues? This detailed information lets us tackle problems before they escalate, saving money and boosting tenant satisfaction. With Meterlink Solutions, we're not just managing properties, we're optimizing them for efficiency and sustainability. Visit MeterlinkSolutions.com for more information.
One of the things we wanted to provide was what are some of the things to consider when you switch to another vendor, things to look at. So if you're thinking about, hey, I'm not happy with my current vendor, I'm not happy with what's going on, I want to switch. First off, you've got to get over the fact that not every company functions the way that your current vendor is doing it. Meterlink Solutions, we're dead serious about providing the best customer service possible. I've been in the industry over 20 years, and I can come up with a list of people that we've helped over the years to, whether it's a whole property or residents with issues, condo owners. The first thing that you want to do as a property or property management group is you want to check your current contract status. Is it automatically renewed? Did it just renew? You have to wait a whole nother year. Maybe your contract has expired. Some contracts have it in there that, well, the company just hasn't renewed or sent a renewal contract yet. So check into that. Sometimes it's required only a 30-day, 60 days. Some have 90 days to get out of that.
So the question really is, can you break up or will it cost you?
Yeah. Is there an early termination for that? And depending on how much money could be lost with the monthly billing, it may be worth it to get out of the contract. If you're penalized for every month not billed, yeah, okay, that's going to cost you too much. But if it's, say, like a 1-month penalty, definitely might be worth it, just depending if you're talking to another company. If you're talking to another company, you don't want to cancel until you definitely have signed with another company. With the other company, you want to make sure that you have definitely met with them, whether it's in person or on a Zoom call. You definitely want to get a feel for that company. I think most people can kind of sense BS when somebody's trying to be a salesman regarding the company. I'm not a salesman. I tell people I'm an account manager.
I definitely would get some references from them too, like some maybe customers are using to see, they can talk to them and make sure that the customers that they talk to are giving back a good report on
Yeah,
how
that's
they're doing.
definitely plus. I know that the couple of properties we just mentioned, they should not have a problem being a reference, for at least for us is concerned. And the positive thing, Johnny, is when you're helping properties, when they're seeing the savings, when they're seeing the complaints from the individual residents or homeowners go down, word of mouth is big.
Yeah.
Whether it's positive or negative, word of mouth. So you're talking about people that are, if you're living in a condo, a townhome, professional jobs, accountants, you got lawyers, you got people in the private sector, you got people who run their own companies. When they see something that has saved them money, they're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
If they've seen a company that provides good service, they're going to say, hey, call these guys. And that happens. And we know it happens. We can talk about one of the guys, Chris, that does our tires.
Yeah.
A lot of his business is word of mouth.
Absolutely.
People say, hey, I need new tires. Well, we know there's 1,000 tire places out there, but everybody goes to Chris.
I don't know how many customers I've sent him over the years from saying, hey, just go see Chris.
Yeah. I mean, it's unbelievable. And then when he gets there, he's so overwhelmed. He's got his whole board, and he's got to put you in the board. He goes, I'm booked up today and tomorrow. I can get you next Tuesday. Okay, give me the 10 o'clock slot.
Yeah.
And that's just a testament to he's excellent in customer service.
Absolutely.
You know, he will do what he has to make you happy. If he feels that you have waited a little bit too long, he's going to cut you a break financially because he feels bad that you actually waited too long because something else happened that impeded his time.
So one of the things you might consider when you're switching over is, depending on your age of your system, but you might want to go ahead and just plan on making some repairs, or maybe even consider a change out of your system if it's that old.
Right, and that's another important factor, and that's where your company comes into play because you can give them professional analysis. You can walk the property or get pictures, depending on where the location is at. But you can assess whether, okay, look, the age of your system is over 10 years. To do repairs, your system is going to be completely outdated in another couple of years.
Well,
You're
we
going
could
to start
run
seeing failures.
we could run a health report and give us a good idea of what's going on out there on the property for the most part. That's something you probably should be getting from your vendor if you're not, as a health report, or what we might call it a high usage report, but a health report basically telling you what's high, what's low, if there's any reception issues or anything that's down. You should be getting those regularly if you don't anyway, but that's something we can run for your property to say, oh, hey, yeah, your system's running good or your system needs some work.
Yeah, and at the very minimum, at least once a quarter. I mean, at the bare
Yeah,
minimum.
yeah.
But some systems you can tell by running reports every month, especially building reports. You can see if there's potential issues with a system.
Well, one thing I like to do, James, too, is if we're taking a property, if we're in other words, we're installing a new system, it's a Next Century system, I give them access to it. Like I want them on the platform. They can see right then they're live. If there's anything not checking in, usage reports, they can create their own custom reports for that matter. I think the more you kind of can get the property involved in that process, like, hey, here's your login to your report, and you can see your property. You can see what's going on live just like we can. And I think I've actually had a meeting with, I don't want to mention another RBC company, but they're a big outfit, and they just started doing that actually. And they're a huge outfit actually, one of the bigger ones in the game. But this is one of the things we talked about before, how the companies would hoard their data, and it's really the property's data, right? It's not the building company, it's the properties, because they bought the equipment, it's their stuff. So I think giving their data back to them, show them, hey, you actually have access to it, you can come here and monitor it, you can look at it, we can send you reports, we can send you notifications, all different things we can do for you, so you're proactive with your property so that high usages and things like that don't get out of control, expecting high water bills, and you get tenants that are upset. So you can kind of preemptively stop all those type of things ahead of time, so you don't get upset tenants, you don't get upset property managers, everybody's in a loop, everybody knows what's going on.
And I know that there's a lot of older systems out there that you can't do that constantly. Like
Correct.
Your 3G systems, you're there once a month. Manual reads, you're there once a month. It's always a good selling point to try to get them to upgrade to a new system when they see, look, we can, if there's an issue, it's only going to be spotted once a month.
Well, the one we just did was a 17-unit property we talked about. That was a manual read property prior to us installing. So we're only catching the water once a month when we're there, and we're saying, oh, wow, this unit used 60,000 gallons this month. So it's done too late, right?
Yeah.
So now we put the system in, and now we've driven the the consumption way down 80%. That's just insane. It's an insane number as it is, but that's the reality of it.
Well, people, too, have a hard time understanding that a running toilet can waste up to 40,000 gallons a month.
Yeah.
If you've got a 3-bedroom and you got a 2-bath, you can waste up to 80,000, and I've seen it. And even with this property out in Tampa, they had flapper issues because these units were running between 60 to 86,000 gallons.
It was total leaks. We know that because I actually went in one of the units and found that. So we know that's what was going on in those places. They had some dripping faucets too, but these are renters who don't pay rent or don't pay water bills. So there's no incentive for them to say, hey, I got a problem here. They just let the toilets run. They just let the things drip. They don't really have I don't use the word care, but it's not on their priority list because they're not paying for it.
Right. And and definitely, it's when you're working with a property, especially a property manager or board member, board president. The communication is important because we think of it as a partnership. It's not just a billing company, because if the property itself is kind of held off, laid back, we expect you guys to do everything. Well, we can't do everything.
No.
We can communicate, but communication works both ways. So if you're getting communication back from a property every time you're sending an email, that's great communication, whether it's good news or bad news. And look, this is what I'd like to do. I need your approval to do it. Can we do this?
Yeah.
And if they say, well, I don't want you to do it, then fine, I got an answer. If they come back and say, yes, let's do that, that would be great. So vendor cooperation is also the key too when you're talking about switching companies. You briefly touched on it. I've experienced that. I would not get full disclosure on the transmitter IDs for each unit. I would not get a current list of meter reads to know what we can start out for in the system. They basically say, well, you got to do your own audit. Okay, well now we got to go back to the property and charge them to do an audit. Not trying to be the bad guy in that, but it's like, look, we need accurate information. And one property.
Or we just need information in general because they're not getting it.
Oh yeah, one property. This was crazy. A property in Georgia had 3 different systems. 3 different systems. You know, he had 2 different RF systems, and some were manually read.
Oh wow.
And I was asking the vendor, saying, hey, can you provide me with some information? I only got the RF information. I didn't get any of the reads. So I had to go back to the board and say, this is what they're giving us. We have no choice but to conduct an audit, and it's not going to be free.
When it comes to water management, sub-meter expertise matters. Integrity Meter Solutions delivers professional sub-meter installations and sub-meter maintenance, all handled by Next Century certified technicians. We bring transparency and reliability to every job, helping you save water and money. For trusted service, choose Integrity Meter Solutions. Visit us at imssubmeter.com.
Of it where I've lost a property, I had no problems providing information. I'm going to be a true professional about it, because you never know if that property is unhappy with that vendor and they want to come back.
Yeah.
And I just don't believe in burning bridges either way, whether you're working for somebody or not. Even if you're being mistreated at your job, it's just me. I've always put in a proper notice.
I've always, when I worked in the billing game before my company here, I always played nice with other vendors, because you got to work together, because you're going to lose some, you're going to get some. This is how the process works and how the game works. So if you're playing nice with those vendors, then hopefully they'll play nice with you, and next time it's on the other foot, right?
Well, I played nice with you when I worked with you.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, if I didn't play nice with you, because you were in the tech department, I was in account management, also customer service, I don't believe MeterLink Solutions would have come knocking on my door.
Sure.
And see, that's another thing. You're talking about your future. You're talking about your future job. I love this job. I have more authority. I'm able to make those executive decisions without sitting in a bunch of meetings discussing what could possibly happen when I already know what needs to be done.
Having a meeting about a meeting.
Yeah. Oh, but so and it's great to have ownership that believes in you. That's another important thing about switching companies. You want to believe in that company,
Yeah.
no matter what it is, whether it's water, whatever. You want to believe that, hey, I'm picking this company and I want them to take care of me, and that's what we're doing. Your company's doing it by installing good Next Century equipment. Will equipment fail? Yes, it does. Things do happen. Same with a billing company.
But it's pretty rare,
Make a
especially on a
mistake.
new install. You might run in, like we had a situation with another property today. We had a couple of issues where we had some connection issues. That happens, especially when you're dealing with pit boxes and water, and these things are full of water from the rain we had down
But
in
that's
Florida.
why you run a high-low report.
That's why you run the report.
Because it's spotted. If I waited till the next pre-bill to run it, now I have to tell the board that these units had been underbilled, not 1 month, but 2 months.
Yeah.
Now I'm in a position where I put it back to them. We can bill these people. All is not lost. Once we get the situation corrected and we start seeing normal tracking of water, we can go back and assess how much monies should have been charged, and we can charge them on the next bill.
And just remember, it's usually 90 days or 3 billing cycles is what it takes for somebody to really get a grasp on what's going on in a property and get a good handle on what we expect to see out there. So having some little issues pop up like this is pretty normal. It happens, especially when you're dealing with multiple units. So not to be unexpected, and then we deal with it pretty quickly. I mean, we got a call today, and we went out there today and addressed it. So it was that quick. So just remember that sometimes, switching over isn't going to be just always smooth. There's going to be a few bumps and hiccups along the way, but we're gonna hold your hand through that process and making sure you're happy with what you get. And then, after our 90 days, we're going to reassess, tell you, hey, this is what's going on, this is what we see, and this is how we can fix it if there's any issues at the time.
And it definitely takes a few months to transition. I mean, you can get the contract signed, but you still have to, if you're doing repairs, schedule the repairs. If you're putting a new system, you still have to order the equipment, get it in, get it installed. I like to wait at least 30 days to have accurate data before we start billing somebody.
Yeah.
2 weeks is not enough. I don't want to try to rush a billing cycle. If we end up having to do a little bit of back billing where we, instead of billing for 30 days, we've got to do 40, 42 days in order to get caught up, I'm willing to do that. But I will not do it just as a maverick. I will email the property and let them know this is the plan to get you on track.
Yeah.
While it took a few extra months to get everything going, because all the accounts have to be set up in the system, we got to make sure that everything, all the checks and balances are in place. And then once you start billing, it does take 3 months. It takes at least 3 months to get your consumption down, to nail down issues, get people used to what they're actually using, coaching them if necessary.
Yeah.
So who knows what they've been taught, but it's that transparency is key. Now, if you inherit a bad property, let's say for an example that this property comes to us, they're tired of the other vendor, but we find out that their system is bad, but they don't have the finances to repair, definitely not replace. Then we're very transparent and saying, well, okay, we'll be estimating, but I'd like to have some data if possible. Maybe your maintenance man can do actual meter head reads for a week to 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So we can get an accurate idea of how much the non-functioning units are actually using, assuming the meter's working
And
fine.
sometimes in those cases, you can, we've worked with a property where we did it in phases. Maybe they did a building at a time or a few units at a time where they could afford to. So there's some options there when you run into those types of situations. So I totally been down that road a
And
few
you're
times.
always able to help. I mean, I've had it where they don't want to upset the apple cart. They want to keep these people estimated at what they've been billed for the last year or two. You know,
Yeah.
I go, that's fine. I mean, but it's your money. I mean, I can take the master bill, look at what we've done with the pre-bill, and see, okay, well, with your current estimation method, you're only getting 70% of your water back.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to increase these amounts. Then if they say no, we're just going to leave it alone. Fine, as long
As long
you
as
get,
they're communicated
exactly.
to, they make the decision what they want to do, then you're good.
Exactly. So that's always a good thing to do. Well,
I know we're getting to that time here, James. We're going to have to start wrapping it up here. But today was your dad's heavenly birthday today, right?
Yes, Dad's birthday
Want to give him
today.
a shout out today, as he's up in heaven, but his today's his birthday. How old would he have been today?
he would have been 89. Well, he's 89 up there.
Up there.
So yeah, he's a great dad. And August 15th is always kind of tough. And I would say this, everything that I know about handling customers, handling people, was from my father. He was a LA County Sheriff's deputy for 34 years. He helped keep kids off drugs. He was one in the early days that did those school assemblies, and he was working with at-risk kids for many years. He was church treasurer. He did the church lawn, deacon, elder. He was not perfect by any stretch, but
But he was a good man.
He was a
did
good
lot
man.
of
I
good work,
loved him.
And he worked with a lot of people to help better their lives. And I'm thankful for that because I've got to know you, and he's raised a good man with you. So I know your dad was a good man.
and that's cool. Well, just real quick, how do you think the Bucks are going to do?
Well, there's some speculation that they're going to go the distance. So we'll see. I think on paper they look really well, and I'm excited to see how it's going to turn out.
Yeah, random thought. See, random thought.
Random
going out there.
thought.
Well, folks, we're glad you got to see me today. That's one of my dad's lines.
Yeah, your dad's line. We appreciate you guys joining in. Keep in mind, hey, if you got any questions about what we had talked about today, please reach out to James or myself. We'd love to talk to you, help you through whatever process you may have. We consult with a lot of people, so we'd love to talk to you if you have issues with your current vendor, and if we can help you in any way to either navigate your vendor or if you want to come on board over here, we'd love to have you. So anyways, we love talking to you about all those things. So appreciate you tuning in this week. We'll be back next week, and we're talking about some cool stuff, and we'll talk to you then.
Yeah, thanks to our sponsors, Meter League Solutions and Integrity Meters.
Yep, thank you for our sponsors for the show. We do appreciate that. So tune in next week. We'll be talking about some other cool stuff. I'm not sure what the segment is. I've been out for a little while, but I'm probably going to talk a little bit about what happened to me. So we'll probably get that on the podcast pretty soon. And but until then, think about it, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
Keep it real.
Hello, my name is Johnny Nunn, Christian business owner of Integrity Meter Solutions. Are you ready to lead with purpose? At Future Christian Business Leaders International, we believe tomorrow's business leaders are being shaped today, rooted in faith, integrity, and in service. Through local chapters, state workshops, and regional network events, FCBLI equips high school and college students with tools to excel in business while never having to compromise their Christian values. Join a community where you build real-world skills, compete with state events, and connect with Christian business professionals who share your vision for ethical leadership. Become a future Christian business leader. Discover your calling, make a difference. Visit fcbli.org to learn more and start your journey today.